They will tell you to believe first, to wait until the confidence rises, to build the plan, to see the map, to understand the rules before you dare to move. But I tell you this, if you wait until you believe, you'll never begin. The world doesn't hand belief to the quiet. It doesn't give confidence to the cautious. It doesn't bless the hesitant with clarity. It gives to the bold. Act now, believe later. Because the spark of greatness isn't lit in knowing, it's lit in motion. Think of it. Every towering name etched in the book of human history. Edison, who failed 10,000 times before lighting the world. Carnegie, who started as a bobbin boy earning $1.2 a week. Oprah, rejected, ridiculed, and then revered. None of them began with belief. They began with movement, with hands in the dirt, with sweat and uncertainty, and a whisper that maybe, just maybe, something extraordinary could come from ordinary beginnings. You want to build a life worth living? Don't ask for a sign. Become the sign. Don't wait for belief. Be the one who acts without it. Because motion creates clarity. Action awakens vision. Movement births identity. You want to know who you are? Start doing something that scares you. You want to build unshakable belief? Do the thing before you think you're ready. Because waiting for the right time is a polite version of fear. And fear, dressed in logic, is the greatest thief of destiny. No one was born ready. They became ready through doing. Success isn't reserved for the chosen, it's claimed by the willing. There is a myth we've bought into, that people who make it are somehow different, as if courage is in their DNA, as if belief is their inheritance. Number. They wrestled with doubt just like you. The difference? They moved anyway. They picked up the brush with trembling hands and painted their future in strokes of fire and sweat. Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than he won before he changed the course of a nation. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination before he built a world where dreams never die. They didn't believe in themselves first. They acted first. And in that motion, belief followed like a shadow, finally catching the light. Your life changes not when you think a new thought, but when you take a new step. The gym isn't transformed by watching videos of people lifting weights. A business isn't built from inspiration alone. Love doesn't bloom from waiting. Books aren't written by thinkers. They are written by doers. And your legacy, whatever it will be carved by the actions you take when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when the applause is a distant dream and all you have is the echo of your own footsteps. So the question is not, do you believe in yourself? The real question is, are you willing to move without it? Because belief is earned through discipline, through failure, through rising, when most would rather roll over and dream in the dark. That's where belief is born. In the furnace of discomfort. In the place where you act with shaking knees, a cracked voice, and no guarantee. The people you admire, they weren't handed certainty. They forged it, like steel in the heat of risk. They failed faster, they fell harder, but they kept getting up, and every time they rose, they became more capable, more dangerous, more undeniable. This world doesn't move for the hesitant. It moves for the ones who leap before the bridge is built. There is a war being fought every single day, not outside you, but within. Between your fear and your fire. Between hesitation and hunger. Between the self that wants comfort and the one that craves a life of consequence. And that war is won not in grand moments, but in the small, repeated acts of discipline. Get up before the sun. Go to the gym when your body screams no. Pick up the phone when fear grips your throat. Write the page when you feel uninspired. Stand tall when you feel invisible. You don't need belief to start. You need a reason so powerful it silences the excuses. Because action is the great equalizer. It makes giants out of ghosts. It transforms the timid into titans. And here's the truth. No one tells you. Clarity comes from the doing. Confidence comes from the repetition. Vision comes from walking into the unknown and realizing you survived. You are not your thoughts. You are not your fears. You are not your doubts. You are what you consistently do. You are built in the doing, refined in the showing up, and remembered in the follow-through. So don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for the right mood. Don't wait for belief to bless your doorstep. Move! Now, today, the world bends to those who dare act before they're ready. To those who look in the mirror and see not what is, but what could be. Do you feel that fire in your chest? That tug? That whisper? That is life calling. That is the voice of your future, begging you to step. And you don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Limp if you must. Crawl if you must. But move. Act now. Believe later. Every great mountain climb began with a foot pressed into uncertain soil. And every revolution, personal or global, started not with a fully formed plan, but with a soul unwilling to stay silent. Do not mistake stillness for strategy. Do not confuse overthinking with preparation. You can spend a lifetime sharpening the blade and never swing it. This world doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. You say you're afraid to fail? Good. That means you're alive. That means you care. That means you're standing at the edge of a new frontier. But here's the secret. Failure is not the enemy. Stagnation is. A failed attempt builds muscle, builds memory, builds strength. But inaction? It rusts the soul. You were not born to spectate your life. You were not designed to sit in the bleachers, cheering for others who dared. You were born to step into the arena, bloodied, bruised, battered, but breathing with purpose. Think of Thomas Edison again. 10,000 failures, they say. Imagine if he had waited to believe in himself before trying. Imagine if he had told himself, I'm not ready yet, I need more confidence. The world would have remained in darkness. You are the spark, and the match is in your hand. But fire does not wait for perfect weather. It consumes when struck. So strike. Strike while your hands are still trembling. Strike while the world tells you to sit down. Strike when no one sees your worth, because that's when you find it. Not in the comfort of consensus, but in the courage of conviction. This life, this short, fragile, breathtaking life is not a rehearsal. It is not a draft. It is the one script you write with every breath, and every page you leave blank out of fear is a story that dies unborn. So don't you dare ask if you're ready. Don't you dare wait for validation. There will be no thunderclap from the heavens. There will be no grand announcement that says, now is the time. You choose that moment. You declare it. You define it. And in that choice, the universe begins to respond. Because reality is elastic, it bends to your will when your will is strong enough. When your action is loud enough. When your commitment drowns out your craving for comfort. You say you don't know what your purpose is? Then live with such intensity that your purpose is forced to reveal itself. You don't find it sitting in thought. You find it in trial, in tears, in tenacity. Greatness is not reserved. It is revealed. And only to those who press forward long before they feel qualified. So write that book before you call yourself a writer. Open that business before you call yourself an entrepreneur. Stand and speak before you think you're a leader. Start loving yourself before you feel worthy. Because the becoming happens in the doing. The becoming happens in the stretch, in the leap. In the silent war, you fight with the parts of you that whisper, you're not enough. But you are. You are exactly the one. Not in spite of your pain, but because of it. Not beyond your flaws, but through them. Because you know what it means to tremble, to question, to fall, and still choose to rise. So rise. Not when the sun is out. Not when it's easy. Not when you feel like it. Rise now. Rise before the world believes in you. Because belief is not the beginning, it is the reward. It is what waits at mile 100, not mile 1. And the only way to get there is to move. There is a fire dormant in your chest. There is a dream buried under years of doubt and delay. And it's waiting, not for the perfect day, but for your decision. Make it. Make the call. Make the move. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. And the only thing worse than failure is regret. When you act before you believe, something powerful happens. You start to reshape your identity. You stop being the one who hesitates. You become the one who does. And when that becomes who you are, unstoppable becomes what you are. Let the world call you crazy. Let them mock your ambition, because they only understand what they can see. But you are building what they cannot yet imagine. You are crafting in silence what will one day roar in applause. So silence the noise. Silence the doubt. Silence the old story that says, you're not the one. Because the truth is, you've always been the one. You just had to move before you believed it. And as you move, as you take one uncertain step after another, the world begins to bend around your momentum. Doors open that once seemed sealed shut. People begin to listen who once overlooked you. Opportunities whisper your name that never dared speak it before. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You see, we're taught to chase certainty like it's a prize. But certainty is the prison where potential goes to die. The greats, the real ones, they didn't chase certainty. They chased growth. They chased risk. They chased the edge, where everything could fall apart or come together in a way no one ever imagined. That's what you're doing now. Every time you act without belief, every time you step forward with a mind full of doubt and a heart full of fire, you are stretching the boundaries of who you are. And here's what they don't teach you in school. You don't need motivation. You don't need inspiration. You need motion. Because once your feet start moving, everything else begins to fall in line. Your mindset shifts. Your energy lifts. Your blood pumps like you're finally alive. And that voice, that vicious voice that used to whisper you can't, starts to get quieter. Because it realizes you're not listening anymore. You're too busy building, too busy becoming, too busy living like your life is your own because it is. And make no mistake, this path is not easy. You will fall. You will be laughed at. You will be misunderstood. But the soil of greatness has always been watered with rejection, with misunderstanding, with lonely nights where you wonder if it's all worth it. It is. Because the reward is not just the destination. It's the transformation. It's becoming the version of you who didn't flinch, who didn't fold, who didn't wait for someone else to go first. That's who the world remembers. Look around not at your distractions, but at your duty. Not at your doubts, but at your drive. Look at your life and ask, what would it look like if I acted like I already believed in myself? Then do it. Live as if it were already true. Speak with the conviction of someone who's tasted victory. Work with the discipline of someone who's burned the bridge behind them. And love yourself with the ferocity of someone who refuses to hand over their worth to anyone else. Because belief is not gifted. It is earned. One action at a time. Your dream, that thing that keeps you awake at night, it is waiting on you. Not your plan. Not your perfect version. You, right now, as you are. The broken parts, the hungry parts, the afraid parts. Those are not your flaws. They are your fuel. Because when you move from that place, not polished but pure, that's when people feel something real. That's when the universe responds. That's when your legacy begins. So don't ask, am I ready? Ask instead, what will I become if I start today? And then start. Pick up the phone. Hit record. Show up to the gym. Apply for the job. Launch the idea. Write the words. Say the truth. Tell the world, I'm here. Because here's the truth. Every legend you admire began as a nobody who simply said, I'll go first. And every moment you delay Someone else is saying yes. Yes to the life you want. Yes to the dream you've been holding. Yes to the chance you keep postponing. So, if not now, when? And if not you, who? Stop thinking. Start moving. Because the future does not belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most committed, the ones who took the leap, not because they had wings, but because they were willing to fall until they learned to fly. Your wings are not given, they're grown. In pain, in repetition, in darkness. And one day they unfold. Not because you waited for belief, but because you acted before it ever arrived. So go. Go with trembling hands. Go with unfinished plans. Go with your heart on fire and your head full of doubt. Because courage, real courage, is not moving without fear. It is moving with it and showing fear it has no seat at your table. This is your moment. Not because the stars are aligned, but because you are willing to shine in their absence. And as you act, belief will follow. Slowly at first, then all at once. Until one day, you'll look back at everything you built, and you'll say with a quiet, unshakable knowing, I didn't wait for belief. I became it. There is a roar rising in your chest. You feel it not because of what you've done yet, but because of what's been buried too long, waiting to break free. This is not a whisper anymore. This is the sound of your own awakening. The world doesn't need more people waiting for permission. It needs you at full volume, unfiltered, unapologetic, unbreakable. And don't you dare say it's too late, that the moment has passed, that the fire is too faint, because the ember still burns, and that's all you need. One spark, one act, one decision to say, I go now. That's how history changes. Not with fanfare, but with a whisper turned into a war cry. With a small action no one saw, that becomes an avalanche no one can stop. The difference between a life of regret and a life of greatness, it's not talent. It's not fate. It's one moment of insane courage, acted upon. That's it. And then another, and another, until your entire life is a chain of defiance against mediocrity. You will not be ordinary. You were never meant to be. And yes, you will lose sleep. You will feel pain. You will be misunderstood, abandoned, laughed at, doubted. Good. That's the tax on transformation. That's the price of becoming someone no one else dared to be. Let them talk. Let them scoff. Let them call you obsessed. Because obsession is what focus looks like when you're no longer distracted by fear. You're not here to be liked. You're here to light up, to ignite, to burn so brightly with action that the world can't look away. This is what Napoleon Hill meant when he said, do not wait. The time will never be just right. He knew that success isn't an event, it's a rhythm, a daily decision, a defiant stand. You build belief by stacking bricks made of effort. And each day you show up, especially when you don't feel like it is a brick laid into the foundation of your destiny. So rise early, even when you're tired. Speak powerfully, even when your voice trembles. Move boldly, even when your knees shake. Because the world bows to those who dare act like they are already kings and queens. And listen closely. The final enemy is not the world outside. It's the one inside. The inner voice that says you'll always be stuck. That voice, it's a liar. It's a ghost of who you used to be. And the moment you act without needing its approval, you kill that voice. You bury the old version of you, the hesitant one, the anxious one, the one who never started. Let them rest. You've got work to do. And here's what's real. You will surprise yourself. You will outgrow people you thought you'd never live without. You will do things that scare you and crave more. You will become addicted to your own evolution. And in that fire, you will find the freedom. Not just the success. Not just the money or the fame or the applause. but the quiet peace that comes from becoming who you were meant to be. The belief will come. Oh, it will. But not today. Not before. First comes the act, the step, the fall, the rise. And when belief finally arrives, it will be yours. Not given, not borrowed, but forged in every inch of the climb. So stop waiting. Stop asking. Stop explaining. You were born for this moment. Not someday. Not next year. Now. Pick up your dream like it's a weapon. Wear your fear like armor. And go to war with your lesser self. You don't need to feel brave. Just be the one who moves anyway. Because courage isn't loud. It's quiet. It's daily. It's discipline in disguise. And this life, it's not about how long you live. It's about how fully you burn. So burn. Burn bright. Burn loud. Burn without apology. Let them remember your fire. Because in the end, they won't remember what you said. They'll remember what you did. And it all begins with one choice. Act now. Believe later.